Outside the ship, Kai paces the clearing while we wait for the villagers to come down to meet us. You should rest, I tell him. There's no evidence that continued motion delays the onset of the illness. You sound like an official, Kai says. I used to be one, I say. The reason you don't have any evidence that this works, Kai says, is because you never had anyone try it. He and I are talking and joking, using the same tone we did when we played at the games table. Once again, Kai is going to lose, and it's not fair. He shouldn't have to be still. But he hasn't lost Cassia. And the way the two of them look at each other is like touching. I'm caught in the middle of it. There's no time to think about that now. A group of people emerges from the trees. There are 9 of them. 5 carry weapons and the rest have stretchers. I don't have any patience for you today, the pilot says. No supplies, I'm afraid, just these 3. My name is Alexander, I say, trying to put the villagers at ease. Lena, says one of the women. Her hair is in a long blonde braid, and she looks young, like us. None of the others move to introduce themselves, but they all appear strong. I see no sign of illness among them. I'm Cassia, Cassia says. Kai says. We're anomalies, Lena says. Probably the first you've ever seen. She waited for our reaction. We knew other anomalies in the carving, Cassia says. Really, Lena asks, her voice full of interest. When was this? Right before they came here, Cassia says. You know Anna? One of the men. Their leader? No, Cassia says. We came after she left. We only knew Hunter. We were surprised when the farmers came to the end stone, Lena says. We thought everyone in the carving had died long ago. We believed that those of us in the stone village were all that was between society and the rest of the world. She's very good at this. Her voice is warm but strong. She takes in our measure as she looks at us. She'd make a good physic. What can they do for us? She asked the pilot, addressing them not as her leader but her equal. I'm the body, Kai says. I've got the mutation. I just haven't gone down yet. Lena raises her eyebrow. We haven't seen anyone standing, she says to the pilot. All the other patients were already still. Kai is a pilot, Cassia says. I can tell she doesn't like the way Lena is talking about Kai. One of the best. Lena nods, but she keeps watching Kai. Her eyes are shrewd. Xander's a medic, Cassia says, and I can sort. Medic and a sorter, Lena says. Excellent. I'm not actually a medic anymore, I say. I've been working in administration, but I've seen a lot of sick and I've been assessing with their care. That will be useful, Lena says. It's always good to speak to someone who's seen the virus and how it works in the cities and boroughs. I'll return as soon as I can, the pilot says. Is there anything new to report? No, Lena says. But there will be soon. She gestures to one of the stretchers. We can carry you if you need it. She's speaking to Kai. No, Kai says, I'll keep going until I drop. I trust the pilot very much, I say to Lena, as we climb up the path to the village. Cassia and Kai walk ahead of us, keeping a steady but slow pace. I know Lena and I both are watching them. Others in the group keep looking at Kai too. Everyone's waiting for the moment he goes still. The pilot isn't our leader, she says, but we trust him enough to work with him, and he feels the same way about us. Are you really immune? I ask. Even to the mutation? Yes, she says. But we don't have a mark. The pilot told us that some of you do. I nod. I wonder why there's this disparity. I say, in spite of what I've seen it do to people, the working of the plague and the mutation fascinates me. We're not sure, Lena says. Our experts in the village says the virus and immunity are incredibly complex. His best explanation is that whatever causes our immunity simply prevents infection from ever being established at all, which means we don't get the mark. And it also means that you'd better not change your diet or environment too much before you find out what makes you immune, or you could get sick, I say. She nods. That must have taken courage to volunteer for exposure to the mutation, I say. It did. How many people lived in the village? I ask. More than you would think, Lena says. The stones are rolling. What does she mean? When a society begins rounding up the aberrations and anomalies to send to the decoy camps, Lena explains, more of them started escaping to these places. The stone villages. Have you heard of them? Yes, I say, remembering Lee. Now we're all gathering together in one village, the last one, Lena says. It's called Endstone. We're pooling our resources to try and turn our immunity into a cure. Why, I ask, what have those of us who lived in the province ever done for you? What? Lena laughs. Not much, she says, but the pilot has promised us something in return if we succeed. What is it? I ask. If we find a cure, she says, he'll use his ship to take us to the other lands. That's what we want most. And the cure is what he wants most. It's a fair trade. So the trade is fair. And if it turns out that our immunity changes when we leave, we will certainly want the cure to take with us to the other lands as precaution. So the other lands do exist, I say. Of course, she says. If you let everyone in Providence die, you could take the pilot ship yourself, I say. Or you could wait until everyone has gone and then go and take the cities and houses for your own. For the first time, her ease charming mask slipped a little, and I see the contempt underneath. You're like rats, she says, in her voice still pleasant. Even if most of you die, there are too many of you for us to overcome. We're ready to leave you all behind and go someplace you haven't touched. Why are you telling me all of this? I ask her. We've just met. So it can't be that you trust me yet. It's good for you to understand how much we have to lose, she says. And I do understand. With so much at stake, she can't and won't tolerate anything that might compromise her goal. We'll need to watch our step here. We have the same objective, I say, to find a cure. Good, Lena says. She lowers her voice and looks at Kai. So tell me, she says, when is he going to go down? Kai's pace has picked up a little. It won't be long now. I say, Cassia is electric, lit up simply because Kai is near her, even though she worries that he might be ill. Would be worth it to have the mutation if I knew she loved me? I wonder if I could trade places with him right now. Would I do it?